Y'all better know something today. I want you all week to be singing, because this is spiritual principle number 1. See, you know, some people are going to ask me, am I going to preach the word? Am I going to preach the principles of science of mind? And the principles of science of mind is wherever truth is taught. Whether it is the Muslim call to prayer, or the fasting for Ramadan, whether it was Passover or Easter, it's wherever truth is taught. And I just happen to think the dramatics. Happen to think the dramatics taught some truth. And it just happens to be the spiritual mind philosophy. If you change your thinking, you can change your life. Right? Otherwise known as what you see is what you get. Turn to your neighbor and say, what you see is what you get. So we're going to talk about that. That is actually, you know, some of my friends didn't believe I was really going to pull that off. I said, oh no, we going to do it. I happen to go to a church where they're going to love that. Where they're not afraid of that. Where nobody is getting ready to say, oh, but that's not the word. I'm about to give you the word so you can see that Jesus said the same thing. Because there's only one mind. There's only one mind. There's one principle for good. And not only can I use it, I invited it this morning to use me. So now y'all know I need to know I lost 2 pair of glasses this morning. So thank you so much, Reverend. Can we thank Reverend Anthony? Reverend Anthony and I go back to the beginning. I came here in 1997, big as a house, pregnant with that one over there. Don't raise your hand there. That's how I know it's been 25 years, because she's, believe it or not, for those of y'all who remember, 25. So that's how I know when I came. And Reverend Anthony has been what we call a stalwart, a good soldier, who has been here, as he said, every Sunday that he could make it. And so we have to recognize that. That is the lifeblood of the church, is those who show up in the hard times and the good times, in prosperity and in challenge. When we can't see prosperity, it's still there. That's what he can see. He can see whether you're sitting here or not. He can see you sitting here. And that's how you get here, whether you know it or not. That's how you get here. Thank you, Reverend Anthony. Come on, give me some. Give me some. Okay. Now, just for folks who need to make sure I know, what did Jesus say? This is Matthew 8, 5 to 13. And it's called the faith of the centurion. You should know this one, but just in case. When Jesus had entered Capernaum, a centurion, and in case you don't know, a centurion is a military leader who historically in the Roman army was over 100 men. That was his command in the army. So a centurion came to him asking for help. He said, Lord, my servant lies at home paralyzed and in terrible suffering. Anybody know somebody in terrible suffering? Might be us. Jesus said to him, I will go and heal him. Now, I want you to imagine the Lord and Savior saying to you, I'm going to go and help your somebody. Now, this is exciting news, I would say. And what did he say? The centurion replied, Lord, I do not deserve to have you come under my roof. I do not deserve it. How many of us feel undeserving some days? Just sometimes. That's my whole talk, so we're going to get to that. I do not deserve to have you come under my roof, but just say the word, Just say the word and my servant will be healed. Just say the word all through the Bible. Very consistently. Sometimes we like to pick and choose things out of the Bible that only show up one time. But this thing right here, touching the hem of this garment, my words have made thee whole, take up thy bed and walk. This is Jesus 101. Jesus 101 is my word. Just say the word and my servant will be healed. And the guy tried to explain the centurion who he was. He said, for I myself am a man under authority with soldiers under me. I'm important is what he's saying. I tell this one, go, and he goes. I tell this one, come, and he comes. I say to my servant, the one that needs to be healed, I say, do this, and he does it. So he's letting you know he has all kind of authority already. But he is not looking to his own authority in this situation because he's what we call gotten in over his head. This is not just something he can just command. Some of us would like to believe that we can control all the conditions just by speaking our word, but here's what he said. When Jesus heard this, he was astonished and said to those following him, I'll tell you the truth, I have not found anyone in Israel with such great faith. And then in 13 he says, go, and it will be done just as you believed it would. In other words, what you see is what you get. Do you understand what I'm saying? Because I want you to be in the word is a good and beautiful thing, but I want you to be the word, the living word, not the word that's on the book and on the pages, the one that shows up and says, I believe that what God can do is unlimited, and I don't actually need somebody to come up into my house and touch the person who is sick. I can just say, Lord, I believe you. You don't have to do all that for me. Because if you say the word, I believe your word is enough. This is why you could just touch the hem of his garment. He didn't even have to look at you. Because it's your faith that makes you whole. Faith is not easy, people. I'd say all the time, faith is not for the good times. That's what gratitude is for. Faith is for the times when there is no evidence that it's working out. Faith is for the times when you're praying and it doesn't seem to be working. That's what faith is for. Faith is when you can't really see anything different and you feel a little stuck. Right? That's what faith is for. Faith is for these moments when you need the connection with something greater than yourself. You need to be reminded that there is a living God in you. And it is already perfecting everything that concerns you. Right? And when you're in touch with that, when you're in the flow of that thing, well, it's done unto you as you believe. Yes. Right? But we're going to talk about what kind of gets in the way of that. See, there's this thing that I teach. Oh, actually, wait. No, let's hear from Ernest Holmes. So, you know, everybody knows. We heard from Jesus. Let's hear from Ernest Holmes, too. I know where I am. It's a candidating service. I just wanted to demonstrate. I know all of these things. This is wherever truth is taught, right? So this is today's reading from 365 Science of Mind, because that's how good God is. He just showed up for today. Okay. The only time to make use of the creative principle. So what you need to understand is we use a lot of different words to refer to God in this philosophy. We talk about the Christ consciousness. We talk about the spirit. We talk about the living spirit. We're going to use a lot of words. Insert the word that works for you. Yes. Amen. It's okay for you to have a personal relationship, a path to God, a religion. Nobody in here is trying to take you from your religion. If you do the Muslim call to prayer, you better get up in the morning and do it. Right? If it's Ramadan and it's time for you to fast, do that. If it's Passover and you need to remember that. If it's the Christ consciousness, if it's the Bible, be in it. That's not what this philosophy is about. Insert word here. So he gonna say creative principle. You say whatever you need to say. The only time to make use of this creative principle is now. The real secret, we like a secret, don't we? The real secret to its practical application lies not in how much we know, but in the use of what we do know. It lies not in how much we know, but in the use of what we do know. Because I know a lot of Bibilians. They can quote it, chapter and verse. But when it comes time to love those that spitefully use you, I'm just saying, you may be the only Bible somebody ever reads. Show up like that and see what happens to the whole world. All these people calling themselves Christians. Did you read it? I mean, I don't know. The results, large or small, much or little, depend entirely on the degree of conscientious endeavor, enthusiasm, and joy. You got to come to this prayer thing with joy. Did you hear that men's chorus? That's how you come to it. I mean, just dancing, we folks getting up. And why you think I went out there and said dance? Because we move. You know, I believe in meditation and being quiet and still. But my people, we move with the Spirit. We let it move in us. It causes us to dance and shout and holler and sing and sway. And we create something beautiful in the world with that. Peace and stillness is good. But it's all right to move. Yes, amen. Enthusiasm and joy, conviction and faith that we can bring to bear on any particular situation. We have to become quiet and in the solitude of our own thought, because that's where it's all going on. Mm-hmm. You think it's happening in the world. You think it's happening because of what your partner did, what your boss did, what your kids did, but where it's all going down, the final frontier is in your own thought. Yeah. Discover for ourselves what it is we actually believe. We have to discover, go in there. That's what we're going to do in the workshop today, is go in there and figure out what we actually believe. That's why we can't forgive, because we're holding on to a false belief. And then proceed to put that faith into creative action through thought patterns of thinking built around that faith. So let me just translate all that for you. You might have to look at it. Change your thinking, change your life. Change that way you are approaching the situation, because here, let's see the slide, is how we think about life often. We call this, to teach this a lot because it hurt my feelings so badly the first time I saw it. The drama triangle was created by Stephen Cartman, and this is actually an adaptation of it that we'll be using in the workshop. And it really has three corners: the attacker, the rescuer, and the victim. Now, just take a minute and see if you might see yourself up there somewhere. And if you're really good, you might see yourself everywhere up there. Depending upon who you're dealing with, you might be the victim at home, but the attacker at work. You might want to rescue some people in the community. It really depends on the situation now, doesn't it? Yeah. But it also is possible that you could go through all of that in just one little conversation. So check it out. Why are you doing that like that? Which one is that? Attacker. Why are you doing that way? And then, I don't know why you're always coming at me like that. And which one is that? Okay, all right. And then your answer might be something like, well, I'm just trying to help you. I'm just trying to help you. That's where I'm coming from. Don't you see that I'm just trying to help you get it done the right way? Which one are you? The rescuer, okay. And then in that same sentence, you might shift and say, it's just not fair. Every time I try to help, you don't listen to me. And I'm just trying to help you. You don't see how I keep working with you and trying to do all this stuff. Where is my family at? Don't listen. Look, they all are like, I know she know about that. Every day over there, raise your hand, family, wave. All my family is here. I appreciate you all so much. Now, I need to say this part. Stop talking about you. You know, there's only one of us. So it's no way I can talk about me and not talk about you. That's the oneness thing. It kind of works that way, which is why I always talk about myself. You know, in ministerial school, a friend of mine told me they teach you not to talk about yourself in the pulpit. And I was like, ooh, I'm sorry. I am a student of Reverend Eloise Oliver. And one of my favorite Reverend E quotes is, ask me how I know. Ask me how I know. I am not telling you something that I read about. I am telling you something that I had to get up off of. In order to have joy, in order to have peace of mind, in order to have forgiveness, in order to have happiness. I had to get up off the triangle, right? I had to pay attention to what's my angle. How am I coming at this? How am I saying that because I want to be the rescuer, somebody's going to have to be the victim? Well, you know, they just can't do it without me. I'm the only one who can do it. They don't do it right. So that's why I have to go in and do it. And I'm so tired. I mean, I'm not saying you're tired. I'm just saying you might know somebody that's tired. And you should be tired because there is something else going on, right? And then, of course, if you're a really good rescuer, you also got to have a villain. Because, you know, they always taking advantage of mama. I don't like her at the job because she's always got something to say, right? My partner doesn't appreciate me, is walking all over me. I don't trust, right? I heard some shh. You know, there's nobody to help me. Nobody. I'm all alone in the world. They like everybody except me. Oh, it got quiet. That's how you know as a minister is good. Okay, so here we are on the triangle, but I have good news. Second slide. There's something else. And the truth is, nobody is helpless. Nobody is a big bad wolf. And nobody is super person. Not even you. So if you can just let go of your angle. What's your angle? That's the question to ask yourself. What's your angle in this? If you could just let go of your angle, maybe it might surprise you to find that other people let go of theirs. Yes. Right? Because the villain is hurt. Yes. That's what's really going on there. Hurt people. That's what's really going on. And if you could actually not play into that and you could stay in the truth, then I'm not going to feed into it. Doesn't mean I'm going to just accept whatever you do. I'm going to have boundaries, but I'm not going to play into you are the bad guy. Right? I'm not going to see it that way. Because this philosophy says all of us are one. And whatever is going on with you is somewhere in me. That's why I see it. It's somewhere in me where I think I'm the bad guy, right? That's how I can put you in that corner. So let's just let everybody out the corner and practice some truth. Amen. Now, I can talk about everyone else, but I want to talk about me. Oh, one more thing I want to say about the triangle. This is not an invitation for you to call other people out. I don't want you to go out of here this week and say, you see, you on that drama triangle because... I'm so glad I remembered to say that part. That is not what you do with this thing. You use it for you. Remember I said figure out what's my angle, right? Because Reverend E says all I got to do is change one person in the situation.
Yes.
So if somebody will come out the corner, the whole thing's going to change.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what your job is. And also, don't beat yourself up with it. Every principle we have in this philosophy, we turn around and say, oh, you know, I'm doing the triangle again. Right? That's not what we're using this for either. It's to get free. Right? So just use it as a point of reflection. Go, oh, I noticed that. I'm okay. I'm over here trying to be the rescuer. Let the victim be their own hero. Because if I can back up for a second, they might figure out what they're able to do.
Amen.
If I can stop operating from the fear that there's no one who can provide this but me, which just ain't true, y'all. I tell people all the time that we're going to run a little bit late, y'all, okay? I'm just telling you now, this guy got two more. Okay. I tell people all the time, don't wait until you are in the hospital to figure out it can be done without you. It can be done without you. It really can. And some of us want to wait until we get sat down. Still trying to hobble around with a crutch and do it. Don't get sat down. It's unnecessary. Just come out the corner right now. Okay. I didn't want to do this. You heard Tyrone say how many times I said no. I was emphatic. I told Arlene when I started preaching during the pandemic, I will do this on one condition. You have to tell everybody that I am not going to be the senior minister. That is not going to happen. So you have to tell them not to ask me because I'm not going to do it. You know what they say about how to make God laugh, right? Just tell them your plans. What I'm going to do and what I'm not going to do. And so, I said to people, well, no, I'm not really the senior minister. I'm not cut off for that. I want to travel. I can't really do an every Sunday thing. I had all kinds of reasons. That wasn't what was really going on. What was really going on was that I wasn't feeling ready. I wasn't feeling worthy. I wasn't feeling like I deserved it. And so I came today to testify and to tell you about my dark night of the soul, where no relationship, no recognition could soothe that deep hole in me, that deep sense of loss and loneliness that had come to feel like I had come to notice. It felt like it had been there my entire life. Anybody got a feeling? It just never quite felt like no matter what you did, you were enough. I came to tell you that no matter how much God blessed me, and some of you know, I have stories upon stories upon stories to tell. No matter how much God blessed me, deep down inside, I felt like I didn't deserve any of it. But Reverend E said, oh, glory. I want to tell you how good God is.
Yes.
Because I found out something that has truly changed my life. I didn't deserve it. I never deserved it. Not when I preached 3 services, not when I raised $3 million, not when I mentored 300 kids, not if I was a good friend, a good mother, a good granddaughter, whatever I was. That is not why God loves me.
Yes.
It is not because of all of what I have done and accomplished. God did not love me because I was disciplined. For those of you who are struggling and beating yourself up with that, God did not love me because I was dedicated and devoted. God loved me because I was born. Where's Lee Valentine? Lee Valentine asked me the other night, he said, what is your purpose? What are you here on this earth to do? And I told him, if you had asked me that 6 months ago, a year ago, I would have had a quite little pat answer. Because I have a purpose. We all do. And I had it all down pat what to tell you. But what I discovered that is radically changing. You want to know how I got up here? My purpose is to be. To just show up in this moment and figure it out and figure out what there is to do right now, not to focus on the future, not to focus on the past. My presence is to show up and be God. That's my purpose. Figure out what does that look like, because in some moments it looks like this. In some moments it looks like something else. My purpose is to show up and be, not to earn God.
Amen.
That's what's broken in our philosophy sometimes.
Yes.
It's called what? Grace. Yes. Yes. Amazing grace. Every woman in my family sings Amazing Grace. And that grace is amazing. Let me tell you about it. God didn't care if I was selfless or self-serving. God didn't care if I was virtuous or vindictive. God didn't care if I was spiritually centered or I had lost my whole entire mind. Somebody was there when I lost my whole entire mind. They're giving me that secret smile, girl. I remember. I couldn't earn this pulpit any more than I could earn the love of God. And my beloved community, I want to tell you good news. You can't earn it either.
Amen.
It's not going to work. All the trying and striving and striving. Do good things. This is a great thing. But never equate the good things with who you are, because who you are, you've always been, always will be, no matter what you do. You are God's perfect child.
Amen. Yes.
If you've ever held a baby, see, we can remember when it's a baby.
Yes.
Oh, look at how perfect. That's still you.
Yes.
God's not waiting to evaluate your behavior to determine if you are loved, if you are valuable, if you are perfect in the sight of God. You are. That is the good news.
That's it. Yes.
So we sometimes think that what is ours to do is to tell God everything that's wrong in our lives. Show up and say, oh, it's so bad, it's so terrible, I would like for you to help me, and can you do something? But this is actually, Alice Walker says, when you walk by the color purple in a field, it just pisses God off. If you don't notice, because there's something in you that's worth noticing. There's something in you that's still divine. There's something in you that's never been hurt, never been broken, never been not enough, never been not good enough, never been ugly, never been stupid, never been poor. There's something in you that is unaltered by your condition and experience. It's unaltered by the steps you have taken or not taken. That something in you is the living God. You know it's happening because you're breathing.
Yes. Amen.
That just doesn't feel like enough, Reverend Dereca, just to be breathing. Everybody's breathing, but see, this is the problem right here. You're still on the triangle. So if you can judge them, then you can judge you. See, if they're falling short, then you are falling short. It doesn't work. There's only one of us. And we just talk about that. So with all that judgment is what you'll be judged with. And so, but because we're seeing other people and we've decided they're lacking, because we're watching the television and we'd have found the enemy. But all you have to do is change the channel, and you see the enemy is on every channel. It's just changing parties. It's just changing parties. That's not news. That's opinion.
Yeah.
And if you change your opinion, you will change if you sit in front of that all day, you will feel that the world is in conflict. But I know people that don't even have a television. They're living in the same world we're living in. But they're feeling something different.
Yes.
Because if what you see all the time is conflict, then guess what you get? If what you see all the time is lack and limitation, I'm not enough, I don't have enough, Count the blessings
Yes.
of being alive.
Yes.
Count the blessings of whatever it took to get here, you got here. Count the blessings if you have even one person that loves you. Count the blessing if you love yourself, because that in this world is some days hard to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we can cultivate that.
Yes.
We have come through the isolation of the pandemic. We have taken to the streets for the senseless murders of black and brown and native and Asian and Muslim and Jewish and Christian unarmed citizens. But we are done hating. This is how we're going to change it. We are done hating gun-toting, cis-het, white, fundamentalist Christian Republican men. Oh, some of y'all are like, oh, I'm not done. Because hate is what has trapped us in our house, stuck to our television, when our children and our elders and the beauty of Mother Earth are waiting for us to get off our couch and celebrate the goodness of God.
Yes.
Fannie Lou Hamer said, we are sick and tired of being sick and tired. And Ernest Holmes, like I told you, said we got to stop telling God how terrible everything is. It's time to speak our word, to see the whole world in a different way, to see our situation, our relationship, our family, our household, our finances, our vocation, our job, to see ourselves in a different way.
Yes.
And it's all happening right here at the East Bay Church.
Yes.
I mean, this place is already blessed.
Yes.
There's a ministry here for doggone near everything. I had interviews for the last 3 days, and they're like, what do you know about East Bay Church? I said, it's a lot going on.
Yes.
Whether you want to work with the babies or folks in prison, whether you want to feed the hungry or help in the garden, there's something here for you to do. So no matter who comes to the pulpit to lead, don't get so attached.
Amen.
The right and perfect person is coming. No matter who comes to the pulpit to lead, we need you. Whether you're here in the sanctuary or you're here online, we need you. This is what makes it a church you want to go to. It's not just who's up here. Get out the cult of personality. I got it. Thank you. I like you too. But that's not what makes a church a place you want to go to. It's who's in the chairs next to you. It's who's in the ministries with you. And if you want to see a church you love, be a church that you love. And in all your giving, don't forget to receive. I prayed with the men this morning. I told them, I said, one hand to give and one hand to receive. That's balance. That's balance. Because sometimes we get on that triangle and we give and we give and we give, and then we tell everybody how tired we are. There are practitioners here who will pray with you.
Yes.
Don't just be one who prays, be one who gets prayed for, because you're much better at praying if you let somebody pray for you.
Amen.
You're much better at helping if you let somebody help you. That's how balance in the universe works.
Yes.
See, some folks like to give from an empty cup. But that's not giving. That's martyrdom.
Amen.
That's, I don't have enough, but I have to. What they say, get off the cross, Jesus need the wood. I mean, so all I'm really saying is don't talk about it, be about it. Whatever it is you believe, get yourself in a community somewhere where you can live your faith out loud, where no one is going to judge you for bringing your whole beautiful God-given self with all its apparent flaws that are still the good God divinity.
Yes.
Show up for your families. A lot of us do a lot of work outside, and then our inside, our families are missing us. Show up for your families, your partners, your community. Show up for yourselves, and show up for somebody that forgot that God is real. I was talking to somebody that said, you know, it's hard for me to believe in God because I pray and things don't happen. Well, I came here to unplug you from your microwave God. That's not how it works. That's not how it works. We've got so into, I'm going to pray and it's going to happen right now. I love religious science, but this right now part of it is not always. Grace is that I'm going to carry you and you're not always going to know how or when. You don't always get all the answers right away. Sometimes you just have to be patient.
Yes.
And by is what the old folks used to say. By and by, it'll be revealed to you.
Yes.
You may be the only hope somebody has left.
Yes.
That this prayer thing can work. That the spirituality thing is real.
Yes.
And you for sure may be the only hope that you have left. But the good news is that the Bible and Ernest Holmes say that God and you are a majority.
Mm-hmm.
And if you so much have a mustard seed of faith, you have a conscientiousness about your consciousness, then watch and see if God doesn't pour out a blessing so bountiful that you can't call it all.
Amen.
I love you.
I love you.
I really, really, really appreciate your faith in me, because in all those dark nights you sent me texts and prayers and messages and you whispered to me, I'm with you. You called me and asked me to pray for you, Hunia, even when I said I was done. I'm not doing that. I'm not a minister right now. I don't have my license. But y'all wouldn't let me run, so I appreciate you. And I would be so honored.
Yes.
And so humbled and so grateful if you let me serve as the senior minister of the East Bay Church of the Lord. So let me tell you, my favorite part of the job is this part right here. Let's pray.
Yes. Amen.